I didn't know of any other female actor who had played a transgender before. In my head said, her growing up years will never come back. And I had already lost such a big chunk of Renee's. I tell Alisa, you clean toilets, baby, but make sure you've cleaned it better than anybody else could have, because it is not the job, it is what you bring to it. And if you can do it to the best of your ability, then you be whatever you want.
Hi guys, this is Ankita. You're tuned into peepingmoon.com, and no introductions, because when it's about icons and the OGs only, you just have to start with Sushmita Sen.
All right. Thank you so much, sweetheart.
30 years nearly
Yes.
into the business.
Yes.
3 decades. What's the mantra of survival?
Stay relevant, keep growing, and you decide the pace. Let no one else decide it for you.
But थोड़ा सा अगर रिवाइंड करूं आपको पूछने के लिए, do you remember the moment, ma'am, when you knew that the life is about to change for you? Not just, of course, the iconic Miss Universe that has stayed with us, but was it that, or was it much later you realized that सब कुछ मेरे आगे बदल रहा है?
Actually, हर एक स्टेप पे पता चलता था कि अब जिंदगी बदल रही है. वो पहली फिल्म मिली तो माय गॉड, आई एम गोइंग टू बी एन एक्टर, जो कि बहुत लोगों का सपना होता है, मेरे साथ हो गया. यू नो, सो आई वाजंट एक्सपेक्टिंग दैट. फिर लगा अब लाइफ बदल जाएगी. फिर वो पहली फिल्म आई और चली गई, एंड इट बॉम्ब्ड. सो देन लगा अब लाइफ किधर जाएगी. फिर the next film happened. I felt a little more confident. But when BV number 1 happened, and the success happened, because it was released with the World Cup.
I remember.
And everyone was saying, कितनी किस्मत खराब है तुम्हारी कि बड़ी वाली फिल्म भी World Cup के साथ आ रही है, पिट जाएगी. And it became a huge hit. That was the turning point that I knew was for the film industry, that now I will be a accepted commercial success actor. So that was a turning point. After that, of course, उतार चढ़ाव तो लगे रहते हैं जिंदगी में.
But जब BV number 1 आई, and I remember जितना भी मैंने पढ़ा है आपके बारे में और जितना अब तक रिसर्च भी करा है, एक एक्टर उस टाइम पे एक दायरे में बन जाता था कि ओके, देयर इज दिस ग्लैमरस टाइम्स, लाइक वही एक पार्ट. कभी वर्सेटैलिटी के लिए आपको भी बहुत लड़ना पड़ा, बिकॉज यू हैव कम एट अ टाइम जहां पे इंडस्ट्री वाज एक्चुअली गोइंग थ्रू द शिफ्ट. आई वुड से गर्ल्स आर मच मोर सिक्योर नाउ, दे कैन फाइट फॉर द पार्ट्स.
No comparison.
You were not in the 70s and you were not in the 2010s. This was the 90s, the influx.
It was a tough time. It was at that time we were thinking, wow, women are getting opportunities, like women-centric films are being discussed. सब पिट रही थी, left, right, and center, but at least बन तो रही थी. That I do look back at and think that was a very hero-centric time. Very. So if you were doing a film with the right hero, doesn't matter your role and what else you're doing, but you're doing it with the right project, the right setup. I still remember these terminologies. Then you had arrived. I did BV number 1 because when I heard the role, I jumped. I said, why of all your cast, this one is not casted? This is the best role.
Exactly.
So they go, because it's the other woman. The film is called BV number 1. You're playing the tramp. Why would you? Why the 25 actresses have like flat out refused to do this? I said, then I'm definitely doing it, because it was meant for me to be done. And it was not with the mindset of, okay, Salman and Anil. So I never had that kind of a mindset. I was driven by a role. And that drive and be driven by a role came to its actual fruition now in my second innings.
Exactly.
In the first one, I just went from one film to another till I just burnt out and left.
I was coming to that. Would you call the conscious break from the cinema you took the biggest risk you took in your career? Would you call that as that?
It was a risk. Oh, 100%. It was a very big risk, especially because all the noise around you is telling you your time's up. I mean, this is your prime time. If you leave, walk
Oh,
away
yeah.
now, then what? You don't have a career in films. But I don't know why. To me, it was a thing of priority. I wasn't doing anything meaningful in cinema. I was completely not growing. I was very frustrated and bored. And on the other end, my younger daughter needed me. And I was not being there, na ghar ka, na ghat ka, you know. So I, in my head, said, her growing up years will never come back. And I had already lost such a big chunk of Renee's. I wasn't going to repeat that. I said, you know what? If work has to happen, it'll come with the right amount of gratification for me to be a part of it, or otherwise I'll do some other work. But I'm going to be a stay-at-home mom. I'm going to see this through because she's going to grow up and that's it. When she turned 8 is when I went back to picking up the call and saying, head of every OTT, because I was loving what I was seeing on OTT. I said, this is what I want. Content-driven stuff.
Exactly.
You know, that is not saying woman-centric role here. They're saying the protagonist is a woman. Cool, I'll take it.
And what is exactly a woman-centric term? I actually fail to understand.
Yeah, but that was the 90s.
That was the 90s.
And funding was a nightmare for a woman-centric film. A picture बन भी गई तो marketing के पैसे नहीं होते थे.
Of course.
तो एक दूर के एक bus stop पे एक poster होता था इतना सा. Marketing हो गई. Film आई और चली गई. पता भी नहीं चला. That's why I used to always call myself a satellite hit. Because Samay would come in the theatre, get off the theatre, no one saw it, and then it would come on TV. And everybody said, what a performance, what a film. Why didn't we see this in the theatres? And I'm just like, satellite hit.
Some is probably one of the projects I would like to mention. Had it been out today, I think people would have seen it in a different light. It was,
Very different.
It was slick is the word. It was, I mean, the ending will always be...
Yeah. Robbie Grewal was outstanding. He did a fantastic job. But I do believe that each of these films came at the right time for me to have a second inning.
And I was coming to that. The second inning was, I mean, I have no words. When I still remember when Arya dropped, and I'm like, I have to see. Bas, excitement. One day, not even one day, a couple of hours in the night, straight one watch.
Nice.
Then we did with the season 2. I'm like, okay, now this is becoming an addiction.
Season 3 is also amazing.
And then I saw Taali. And I can now say it because it's coming. I knew about it way before anyone else. And I was containing my excitement to not say anything. And how did this land to you? Because this is, it just feels that this was meant for you.
Yeah.
And it's just not by the looks of it. The more I see it, the more it's like these are two personalities, the same persona I'm seeing.
Yeah. That's a huge compliment. I'm a big admirer of Gauri Sawant. And honestly, I couldn't have planned this if I had an opportunity to plan it better. There was a biopic and an inspired story being made on her life. I didn't even know that.
Oh.
All I knew was one fine day, Karthik and Arjun, the producers, came to me and said, very, very sheepishly, like, hota hai na ki ye pakka mana karne wali hai. Pakka. So, you know, like, let's just, it's an idea. You know, just hear us out. Because you are her first choice. So, Gauri's. So, we were like, okay, what is this about? And he tells me, what I'm trying to get to actually with this story is, for years, and that's 30 years, I've been one of those few privileged people who at 18 got an opportunity to travel the world as Miss Universe. I saw the power of inclusion. I also saw the distress of isolation very, very deeply. So by the time I came back and became an actor, my mindset was almost locked. That whatever else I will do in my life, I will not be divided. That is the only strength I will carry to my grave, that you could not divide me, not in the name of any aspect. So that sense of inclusion has always been a very strong part of my life. but I couldn't do anything about it. There was
Exactly.
never I could say two lines here, give interviews there, but it doesn't hold as strongly as acting on it. Taali gave me that. And I cannot tell you, it was an instant yes, but it was about instant yes as an actor, sure. But as a human being who believes in this so deeply, I also had to do justice to Gauri Sawant because her story would be told once. She wants me, huge honor. But can I deliver it?
Exactly.
That's the next big thing because I didn't know of any other female actor who had played a transgender before.
I don't think.
Yeah. And so
Anyone.
there was this I'd get to know later. But at that point, I was like, do I have an example, someone to look at? Nothing. But Gauri wants. So it took us 6.5 months to okay it. But that last thing that happened after all of the meetings was my meeting with Gauri.
Oh, you took 6.5 months.
Yeah, because she was doing Ajicha Ghar. She's making a home for children.
Wow.
She really does a lot of amazing work. So she was busy with that. And then by the time we ended up meeting, that one meeting sealed the deal. When I met her, I saw a human being I could relate to. And I was just like, what's wrong with us? We're trying to play into the projection of divide. That's just another human being who's
Yeah.
made different choices than I have or you have. That's all. So then we got down to it. And of course, this has been a superb teamwork. It's got something like this you can't do in isolation. It's tremendous actors, tremendous crew, tremendous director, fantastic platform, Geo Cinema, the producers. Everyone came together and then Taali was made. All I can tell you is every time I hear the word, we got goosebumps watching the teaser. That goosebump is something that we did not expect.
Oh.
All we knew was that we were making something with a lot of imandari. There has been no mocking, no mimicking, nothing. It's been a very honest attempt. That honesty finally has a shift in consciousness. This is why we wanted to make this. This is why I wanted to play Gauri, is to take all the love that I have received over these 3 decades and channelize it towards the trans community. Because if people love me that much and I play Gauri, that love will transmit. And that's it. Then the job is done.
Often actors take something with themselves when they end a part.
Yeah.
What did you take from Gauri?
Oh, generosity, courage, audacity, large-heartedness.
So are you?
Kindness, empathy, compassion. There is a long list. She's had a hard life, and that hardness is there on her. But the woman I have met is diametrically opposite. She's vulnerable, she's kind, she's very giving. And all of these qualities I take with me as a reaffirmation that at the end of the day, I could go back to the source and say, I included myself. Instead of trying to get the world to be in a state of inclusion, I chose to include myself and associate with a woman that powerful. It's an honor.
It's an honor. Ma'am, there has been a time, like I would say almost a decade, where you've also been through a lot of, I would say, medical emergencies in a manner, if
Yes.
that is the right way to put
Yes.
it. And it came to a point where when anyone who goes through that, you value life in a completely different light. Do you value life in completely different light, or was it just the noise around it became so huge? Because I remember, I all I'll say is that there has been some tough times, and I know that people around you have been brave enough to brave it. But how do you see life now?
It's pretty much the same way I did before. I think it's a romantic notion that if you have a heart attack, suddenly you wake up to realizing, wow, time is running out. That I knew the day I was born. Time is running out. I think what I did realize is that I have unfinished business. There are things that I must do for which I was born in the first place. And I pray to God that I get to finish it all But other than that, I did not feel any other shift in consciousness because I am otherwise also a person who loves life.
You do.
I don't think I can love it more. I already love it a lot.
I know I'm short on time, so I have to ask you two definite things for sure.
Okay.
One, why does, pardon me if I'm using the wrong term, why does feminism, anything which has to do with women empowerment, and Sushmita Sen synonymous?
Oh, nice. Because I celebrate being a woman. I think I celebrate every aspect of being a woman, and I do so openly. I don't do it to influence other people. I do it because I believe in it. And I think nothing greater than leading by example. You can talk all you want, but it is what you do that matters.
I completely agree. Sushmita, having two adopted daughters and you celebrate them, I know it for a fact. But what path would you want them to be at? As far as I know, you always say, even in your lives, which I adore, which starts with Shona, that they can choose to be whatever they want to be.
Whatever they want. I give Alisa this example. Renee used to get another example earlier, but now she's older, she knows. I tell Alisa, you clean toilets, baby, but make sure you've cleaned it better than anybody else could have, because it is not the job, it is what you bring to it. And if you can do it to the best of your ability, then you be whatever you want. It doesn't matter. And a very interesting thing, since you brought this up, Alisa came to me after she watched the Taali teaser, and she said, strangely, she never said this before. She watched the teaser. She comes to me and she says, what if I came to you one day and said, I'm gay? Or I said that you wouldn't be gay, you'd be a lesbian. So he goes, yes, let's say I said I was a lesbian. Or I told you that I feel like a man. I want to be a trans. So I said, then where's the question? She goes, no, what would you do? So I would hear you out and I'd love you. Your choice, your life. You would have to do what you have to do, you know. No, you're just saying it. I said, no, try me. You have plans? I asked her. But that's a 13-year-old child wondering if what my mother is doing in a film is true to what she believes in life.
And that's the impact you have.
But that's beautiful, because I realized that my daughter's got the point.
She's actually asked the most relevant question that normally we always end up saying, that we propagate something but we don't follow it.
Yeah, no, see, our job as parents is to love our children. Everything else is a matter of choice.
Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.